You did what people told you would protect you. You saved instead of spending. You worked instead of complaining. You avoided risky moves. You stayed patient. And somewhere along the way, you expected the combination to unlock progress, not luxury, not wealth, just forward movement. And yet, years later, you look around and feel the same. Same pressure, same limits, same sense of being stuck in place. That feeling is deeply confusing, because on the surface, your behavior makes sense. You weren't reckless. You didn't chase shortcuts. You didn't ignore reality. In fact, you did the opposite. You played it safe because you were trying to be smart. And when smart choices don't lead anywhere, the brain starts questioning itself. Most people don't talk about this stage openly. They talk about failure. They talk about success. But being stuck after doing everything right doesn't fit either category. It feels awkward to complain when you're not failing. So the frustration stays quiet, internal. And over time, it turns into self-doubt. You start asking yourself questions that don't have clear answers. Am I not patient enough? Did I start too late? Did I miss something everyone else understood? And because you can't see a single obvious mistake, the conclusion becomes personal. Maybe I'm just bad at this. Maybe this is as far as I go. But here's the part that matters. Feeling stuck after playing safe is not a character flaw. It has a predictable outcome in a system that quietly stopped rewarding caution the way it used to. Safety used to create momentum. Today, it often creates stagnation. And nobody warned you about that shift. The rules you followed were built for an environment where stability was supported, where wages rose alongside costs, where long-term planning was rewarded, where doing the right thing gave you time to catch up. That environment eroded slowly. So slowly that most people didn't notice until they were already inside a different game. Now, playing safe often means standing still while everything else moves. Costs rise, expectations rise, requirements rise, and your careful progress gets absorbed just maintaining your position. You're not falling behind dramatically, but you're not moving forward either. That middle state is exhausting. What makes this especially painful is that playing safe feels like effort. It requires discipline, restraint, delayed gratification. So when it doesn't lead to progress, the disappointment is sharper. You didn't just wait. You sacrificed. And sacrifice without movement breeds resentment, even if you don't want to admit it. At some point, you realize that safety has a cost. Not an obvious one, like money lost, but a quieter one. Opportunity delayed, flexibility reduced, energy spent maintaining instead of building. When safety becomes the goal instead of a tool, it can quietly box you in. This is why so many people feel like they're on hold, not broke, not thriving, just suspended, waiting for something to click, waiting for permission to move, waiting for stability to finally feel like progress. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to question the strategy, because you've already invested so much time and discipline into it. The hardest part is admitting that the thing you trusted might be part of what is holding you back. That safety, as it's practiced today, doesn't always lead where you thought it would. That realization feels dangerous at first, because if safety isn't working, what is? You have to separate safety from stagnation, because they are not the same thing. Even though they feel similar, safety is supposed to protect your downside. Stagnation quietly caps your upside. And most people don't realize the difference until years pass and the pressure doesn't ease. The mistake wasn't saving. It wasn't working hard. It wasn't being responsible. The mistake was believing that those actions, by themselves, were a complete strategy. They're not. They're a foundation. And a foundation without structure on top doesn't become a house. It just sits there. Playing safe works when it's paired with intentional growth, when saving has a purpose beyond just in case, when work is connected to leverage, not just effort, when patience is active, not passive. Most people were taught the behaviors, but never taught how to turn those behaviors into movement. That's why the frustration feels so personal, because you're doing things that require discipline, yet nothing seems to compound. No acceleration, no momentum, just maintenance. And maintenance, no matter how responsible it looks, drains motivation over time. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. The system doesn't punish effort, but it doesn't reward it automatically either. Effort without positioning keeps you stable. Positioning is what creates change, and nobody explains positioning in simple terms, because it doesn't fit into neat advice like work harder or save more. Positioning means asking harder questions. Not how do I avoid losing, but how do I make my effort harder to replace? Not how do I be safe, but how do I become valuable in a way that grows? It means realizing that safety should support growth, not replace it. This doesn't mean reckless risk. It doesn't mean gambling your future. It means small, deliberate shifts, redirecting some energy from protection into expansion. Learning skills that increase income. Flexibility, creating optionality instead of just security. Building buffers that give you room to move, not just survive. For a long time, you were told that patience alone would solve the problem. That eventually things would click if you just stayed consistent. But patience without direction turns into waiting. And waiting doesn't change the game. It just delays the moment you realize you need a different approach. The good news is this: being stuck doesn't mean you failed. It means you reached the limit of a strategy that was never designed to take you further. That's not a moral judgment. It's a mechanical one. And mechanical problems have mechanical solutions. You don't need to abandon responsibility. You don't need to start over. You don't need to become someone else. What you need is to stop confusing safety with progress, to stop assuming that discipline automatically creates momentum, and to start building paths where effort compounds instead of evaporates. Most people don't stay stuck because they're lazy or ignorant. They stay stuck because they're loyal to a strategy that once made sense, but no longer matches reality. Letting go of that loyalty is hard. It feels disloyal to your past self. But growth often requires updating beliefs that used to protect you. If this video feels uncomfortable, that's a good sign. It means you're not broken. It means you're aware. And awareness is the first step out of stagnation. In the next videos, we'll break down exactly how regular Americans can move from playing safe to playing smart, without fantasy, without hype, and without pretending the system is fair. Because it isn't, but it is navigable.